Hello, and welcome back to Journey to You, a podcast where we discuss all things self-development. In today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about what to do when you start noticing that you are spending more time in your head than in reality. If you're a highly creative person, your ability to create scenarios in your head and daydream is really powerful, and you can use that to create a much brighter version of the future for yourself and to use that ability to manifest your dream life. However, sometimes we can get so in our head and start using our abilities as a creative person to escape from reality. When you notice that your daydreaming is becoming an escape from reality rather than a tool to help create a more positive one, you might be slipping into maladaptive daydreaming, which can be really detrimental to your health. Maladaptive daydreaming is when you daydream so much that it starts impacting your daily life. It can be excessive and just lead to a worse and worse situation the longer that you do it. So let this be your reminder to snap out of it and to go back into a more positive way of using your imagination. And let me help you figure out how to do that. So first of all, I'm just going to start by talking about the negative impacts of maladaptive daydreaming, because I know it can feel really fun. When I was younger, I would just be sitting at school waiting to get home so I can lay down and get back to, the reality I've created in my mind that is just completely false. By doing that, I was actually creating a worse life for my real self because I wasn't being present with the people that I loved. I wasn't enjoying what I could. I wasn't looking at the positives in my real life. So if you are daydreaming excessively and to escape reality, most likely your real life is going to become more stressful, because whatever you're putting off or whatever you're trying to avoid, consciously or subconsciously, it's going to get worse if you don't deal with it. If you get to the point with your daydreaming where you're sacrificing time with the people in your life to just be in your head, you are going to find that you feel really isolated. It can lead to depression, more anxiety, just a worse situation in general. And by doing that, you're going to be missing out on the real joy of life. Of real life. The other thing is you're always manifesting. Your thoughts are so powerful. So if you are sending signals out to the universe that you don't like your life, the universe will give you more reasons to believe that and more reasons to escape, to want to escape. If you're in a situation that you don't like, that's a really good thing to be aware of, so you can start working towards something else. So let's talk about what healthy daydreaming looks like versus maladaptive daydreaming. So healthy daydreaming is when you connect to your higher self and you use your imagination to clarify your goals, feel into possibilities, and create ideas. So a good testament that you are on the right track is that your daydreams are a future for your current self. They're not a past. They're not what you could have done differently. You know what I mean? Like, if say you want to be a famous singer, don't daydream that when you were 15, you put up YouTube videos when it was just starting out and you got discovered and now you're a famous singer. Think about how can you go from where you are now to becoming a famous singer. Use that imagination to actually come up with ideas to get to where you want to go, rather than being in your head depressed that you're not where you want to be. And some signs that you might be maladaptive daydreaming opposed to daydreaming in a healthy way is that you spend more time in your head than in reality. You feel disconnected from real life. You use fantasy to avoid discomfort. And sometimes the daydreams can feel really compulsive. Like, oh, I need to go back and finish this story in my head. Like when you wake up from a dream and you're like, no, I need to go back there and fix this. Because it gets to the point where it is compulsive and it's a habit that you need to break. And especially if it's feeding into a lot of those like ego feelings, like jealousy and yucky feelings, it can become addictive because that part of your brain wants you to associate with it. That part of your brain is always trying to get you to be a jealous person be identified as your ego. But you know that you're more than that. So here's how you turn this around. There's a few things that you can start doing today to fix this, because you need to. You need to open yourself up and realize that you're ready to face your real life and that you are ready to face any challenges that come with it. And if you're not happy where you are, you're ready to start working towards a place where you are happy. The first thing that I would suggest is start doing the day-to-day things that you know you need to do to live in alignment. For example, if you know that when you are being negative and have really negative self-talk and negative talk about other people, you are living out of alignment with your higher self, start making the effort every day to stop, to start talking to yourself nicely, to start looking at others with compassion and not judgment, to not buy into conversations with negative people about negative things. The next thing you can do is just start cutting down the amount of time that you are daydreaming about these false realities. So, for example, if you 3 times a day go into this reality, maybe you do it on the bus to work, you do it in your team meetings, and then you do it when you get home before bed, just start cutting down. Instead of doing it, well, first of all, the first thing you should do is stop doing it in team meetings, because that's going to lead to worse outcomes. You don't want to be, okay, really important note, if you're doing it during times where you should be paying attention, that's the first thing that you want to stop doing. So if you're going to just start cutting down, start with the time that you're using that is shared, that is with other people and for your greater good, things that you might need to know. So maybe for the first week, during team meetings, make an effort to pay attention and take notes and be present rather than disassociating. So now you do it before bed and you do it on the bus. Don't do it on the bus anymore. You could be using that time to think about how grateful you are for your friends and reach out to them. Or you could be using that time to call your mum or call your dad, or to get something done that you've been putting off. Like, there's so many better ways to spend your time. And you can use that time to daydream about your real life, about how you're going to get your goals. The next thing is, instead of daydreaming about, the past or a false reality, like a fantasy land, start switching it to a fun possibility. Maybe ask yourself, where do I see myself in 5 years? Or what would be really cool to wake up to in 2 years? Or how would my ultimate day in the life look? And then you can use your imagination and daydreaming abilities to envision a future for yourself that you enjoy. And then when you get to that future, you love it so much that you're not going to want to waste it daydreaming. So you want to use daydreaming as a preview for the future, not a replacement for the past. The next step is, once you start creating positive daydreams, they are just going to remain daydreams unless you actually start taking action. You are manifesting so much with your energy and with your thoughts, but you still need to take that inspired action to get where you want to be. So don't forget to actually work towards those things. Ask yourself while you're in that daydream, now, how do I get from point A, where I am now, to point Z, which is the daydream reality? How do I get there? Use your imagination to come up with ways. And you'll be surprised what comes to you. Like, your brain holds so much information. And I feel like when you're in a daydream as well, if you're a spiritual person, I feel like that's such a cool way to connect with the universe or your higher power and look at possibilities. And it is a really positive experience if you let it be. And if you find it hard to just make the switch or just cut it off, try each day to check in with yourself. Check in with your real self. Make space for reality. So maybe in the morning, wake up and ask yourself, how does your body feel right now? Ask yourself, what are you avoiding? Start journaling each night about real life and what struggle do you have on at the moment? Like, it might be locked away. It might not be an obvious thing, but if you are maladaptive daydreaming, it's a very high chance that the reason you're doing that is that you're avoiding something in real life. So please use this episode as a reminder that your thoughts are so powerful and that you are so powerful and you have the ability to create any future for yourself. And you hold the answers how to do that. And you can use your amazing ability to daydream and to be creative to create that reality. Your life is worth living. If you're in a position right now where you feel stuck, you can get unstuck. And only you can get you unstuck. So please just remember that you are very powerful and you can do it. And it sounds scary because it's like a habit, but just try making small shifts each day towards a brighter future for your real self, and you'll start noticing real changes. And then it's going to be a lot easier to not want to escape to another reality because you're going to like the one you're in. Thank you very much for being here with me today, and I hope that you've learned something and maybe gotten a little bit of inspiration to get back on track with your real life and enjoy it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.